Welcome everyone to today's podcast. And oh my goodness, I'm really going to enjoy this amazing conversation with Damien Schofield. Now, Damien grew up on cattle farms in rural New South Wales to the gates of Murrayfield Stadium and from boxing rings to Australia's security front lines. My goodness, this gentleman is going to have a lot of stories to share. Damien's journey is one of resilience, service, and deep family values. A former professional fighter, elite resilience coach, and founder of the Younger Heroes, a not for profit reconnecting veterans with their children. Damien has lived a life shaped by action and purpose. And that's one of the reasons I've got, Damien on the podcast today, because I want to hear more about the Younger Heroes, but hearing about that connection of his own childhood and what he's done in his life, and then working that in and sharing that with the people that come into his various programs. With his experience spanning physical rehabilitation, private security, and military support operations, his story is a powerful testament to the strength of family and the impact of service well beyond the uniform. So thank you so much for joining me today, Damien.
Thanks, Michelle. That's a good intro to say. A bit nervous, but yeah, thank you.
So we're going to hear all about, what the younger one, the younger heroes are, but also I'm sure I'd love to hear a little bit more about Murrayfield, which I'm sure a lot of my listeners would like to as well. So let's start at the beginning. What inspired you to create the Younger Heroes, and how did your own experiences growing up in a military family shape the program's mission and direction?
Yeah, so the Younger Heroes the initiative was born obviously with lived experience in my background. I grew up with a father in rural Australia, New South Wales, having a father who served in combat with in the Vietnam War under 7RAR. And like many veterans in that era, he carried things home that were never really dealt with. And as a child, you don't have a language for it, but you feel the impact. And what I saw firsthand growing up was that service impacts the person itself who served at war, but it also affects the whole family and catastrophically, especially the children.
Yes.
So that stayed with me for later in life. And I had family members and mates serving in obviously Iraq and Afghanistan, and me dabbling in and out of um, businesses and positions where pressure comes along. I realised the focus on the veteran was there, which 100% needs to be. But the important thing was there's no focus on the children. There's no program set up for the children and the impacts of having a parent who served. And that child's at home quietly absorbing everything around them. So the Younger Heroes was created to change that narrative and to strengthen the parent-child bond and interrupt generational trauma as such, and before it comes the next story. So, yeah.
And it's quite interesting because, as I had shared with you, Damien, in our notes that, my family spans back from a strong, military for multiple generations. And then I was involved in the military for quite a number of years and, moving, it felt like every year, up to Darwin and to Canberra and other places in between. And at that time, I didn't have children, but seeing, families move from WA and then they're over in New South Wales and then it's Victoria, then they're up in far north Queensland or Darwin. The biggest thing, and as because I didn't have children, I didn't realize was the different ages that we start school here in Australia. But the biggest impact was these children having to understand, and for many it was they knew no different with one of the parents or even perhaps two of their parents leaving at different times to go overseas or reconnaissance, whatever it might be. But when they moved, they had to start all those friendships up all over again. That's a
Yeah,
big impact with children.
it's huge. It's huge. And like you say, majority is one parent, but there's so many families out there that both parents are serving.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. We get families in the program that both have served, are still serving 30 plus years and have
Yes.
children.
Mm,
Some stories, like kids have moved around, 11, 15 schools.
mm,
They got to move around every, 2 years. My, sister and brother-in-law, he was military now, but, seeing their picture and the way they moved around overseas, another job, like every 2 years, it's so impactful. And
mm.
like going back, I've got a, history in with my generation with military as well, and it goes back. And what I know now around generational trauma, like it just stems through our generations. I've got a strong military connection with family history and World War One, two, other wars, etc., etc. And like I said, generational trauma is embedded in us, and it can pop up in
Yes.
generations down the track. And that's why Younger Heroes is created, to try and stop generational trauma.
Mm. And having those discussions and having somebody they connect with. And I think what is so beautiful now is that we do have the internet. Kids can continue on those conversations, even though they may not be in, that classroom or that state or that country anymore. Whereas in the past, certainly in my era, and I'm sure, in your early times too, Damien, is there was no such thing. I mean, once you moved on, you may have got a pen pal for a little while, but then that disappeared. But at least to me, it adjusts that change somehow, hopefully in a positive way, but they still have to deal with those situations that not many people can understand. So how do you build that trust and connection with veteran families who often carry those invisible wounds from service? What have you found most effective in helping them reconnect with their children through the program? So, can you talk a little bit more, answer that question, yes, but a little bit more about what your programs actually assist with when it talks about families and reconnecting with their children as well, please?
I think communication is key. It's one of the strongest ones we work on. We work on four core pillars, which is strengthening family bonds, communication, team building, and personal resilience.
Mm,
Coming back to your question around how we get the trust and the families to reconnect, the environment is critical.
mm,
So you need to have a. I think trust is built through having uh, an environment that creates a experience, and people have, we take families out into nature, away from the clinical settings and away from the noise and pace of everyday life, and put them into nature.
mm,
It's got to be beautiful. It's got to have intentional settings with fires and waterfalls and hills. And
mm.
open fires are very strong for us. Primal land is massive. And that all matters with building that trust and reconnecting families. And as we know, nature lowers the stress and helps people relax.
Yes.
It allows the parents and children to really disconnect from the outside world and reconnect with each other. And
Mm,
on the programs, there's no judgment and there's no diagnosis.
mm,
We put them in a safe container where families can be present again and learn from each other.
mm.
And, the support has to be obviously there as well with facilitators and everything. We have facilitators with lived experience. We have chefs, a big part of the nutrition of it. And it's a structured program that creates safety and consistency, which is very powerful.
Yeah, it
And I
is.
think once you've got that foundation in place, like the real conversations start to happen. And often that's around and after activities, and it's around fireside chats,
Mm.
um, into the late afternoon, evenings, or early mornings. Yeah, it needs all that. I think an environment is critical.
Yes, and it is having that structure because the lives are very structured. And I know, personally, so even though I didn't have children at the time, they came a little bit later. It was, that person, your partner or your parent has been away perhaps 3, 6 months at a time on deployment. And you're living your day-to-day life. You've got your routine as the family, you've got violin practice, you've got footy practice, you've got tennis, you've got school and dance, blah, blah, blah.
Crazy.
And then all of a sudden this person rocks up and they don't know the schedule, and they're expected to fit in. And so they then, that person's come back from deployment. They're thinking, well, well, life is just moving along without me. Where do I fit in? And then it's that readjustment. And I know what I used to find by the time you readjusted, it was about time again for them to go again. So it was this constant circle of readjusting and adjusting. So do you find, when you've got families there, is that it really gives them that opportunity to remove all the out external things that are happening and just focus on themselves and how they can connect?
Yeah, exactly. And like
Mm,
there's some of the stories out there, like there's, Afghanistan was, the longest war we've been, and like
mm,
some people have done, 5, 6, 11 deployments back to back over 11, 15 years.
mm.
Some have missed birthdays, missed births. Like there's many stories of births being missing.
Yeah.
So bringing those people on, the younger heroes, and stripping back the tech and the distractions from the outside world, and put them in a beautiful container and nice environment
Mm,
allows that conversations to open up. And
yeah.
like I said, everyone's on a level playing field and allows the conversations to flow. And the father or the mother might get an opportunity, well, does get an opportunity to express um, that the stress that they might be carrying or come home, and then the kids hear, stories, similar stories from other participants in the program, and it also gives the kids an open space to share their challenges and what they might be going through, which might seem minute to an adult with the
Mm,
pressures that we undergo. But these kids, to them, it's huge,
yes.
and it allows that parent to sit back and go around the fire and go, "Wow,
Mm,
he's been holding that for like 2, 3 years."
yes. Yes.
Um, so yeah, it's all about stripping back the outside world, technology, and putting them into a nice, safe environment
Mm,
where they can evolve and communicate better. And
yeah.
this, yeah,
Which is beautiful.
yeah, it's
You
very powerful.
Yeah, it is, and it takes that moment because everybody, it's that first feeling when they come back of, oh, pure joy, they're safe, and it's that love, and then it's fitting into each other's lives. And how do we do that? And sometimes it needs that communication, it needs those words, it needs
Yeah,
verbal, doesn't it?
and just I can only speak personally. I know, look, I used to go away with security overseas, and only 2, 3 months at a time.
Mm.
And I know how hard it was in the family, but my wife had the structure. She
Yes,
said it was harder
yes.
when I came, yeah, harder when I came home. So you
Mm.
might come home for like 5 weeks, 9 weeks, then you'd be gone again. And that would be disruptive to the household.
Yes.
Me, I love it because I was missing them dearly. But, for my wife running the house, it's like, oh, I had everything, sorted and structured, and now you're home and it's just you're the fun person. Yeah, yeah. So it's
Yes, yes,
tough.
yes.
And like
I'm the one.
these guys are doing 6, 7, 9 month deployments back to
Yeah,
back. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's huge. And I had a lot of mates serving, some with kids, some not with kids. And I speak to the mates with kids, and I just go, how people did it with children at home
Mm. Yeah.
is yeah, hats off to them.
Mm.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know you could see a real change when, the group that I was with and when they were starting to have children, nobody wants to leave their partner and be deployed. But when a child was involved, oh, wow, it was a whole different feeling. It really tugged at their heartstrings because, yeah, and particularly as you were saying, if they were going to miss that birth or miss those really important birthdays or those moments in time when the child starts to walk or eat or whatever it might be, it is how you get through it. And today at least you've got some form of technology. You may be able to at least go on a Zoom call like this. I know mine, we used to be the old ship to shore phones where you had to do, Roger out and all this, and it was,
Yeah,
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 it
yeah,
was like, this is just ridiculous, but
yeah.
not ridiculous, but it's
Yeah,
to
but you
connect.
had FaceTime and screen time,
Yes,
but yeah,
yeah.
which just makes it, yeah,
It,
makes
and I think that makes it easier for the parent who is overseas to build at least some sort of bond and that friendship, that
yeah,
connection with
yeah.
that child when they
You're not missing out.
yes.
You're missing out physically, but you can see, yeah, you can see them,
Yes.
and yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
actually still.
technology does have its good points.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So,
Some, not in the program, not in the Younger Heroes program. Yeah.
yeah. Look, you've worked in certainly some high pressure environments from top, from security ops to boxing rings. How do those experiences inform the way you build resilience in others, Damien? And how might hospitality leaders, if we can look at that aspect, draw from similar principles when supporting their own teams and communities? As I'm a corporate partner of the RSL Clubs and Services Association here for many, many years, well over a decade, probably nearly 20 years by now. And many of my clients are RSLs or ex-service venues. What's your sort of thoughts there or insights that you could perhaps share with them?
Yeah, I guess being in boxing ring or high pressure
Mm,
environments sort of teach you very quickly that leadership, you know, can be observed very quickly.
mm,
And the calmer you are, the more relaxed you are as a leader, stems through the team as such.
mm.
And it does depend whether you're in a boxing ring or working security or even, in a busy restaurant. People are watching your every move and the
Yes.
way you carry yourself.
Mm,
And when things get uncomfortable, people remember how you reacted to that pressure,
mm,
or the team leader reacting to the pressure. So if a leader panics and loses composure, then the pressure spreads and becomes throughout the team.
mm.
And then that standard is formed. If a leader
Yes.
stays calm, communicates well, and backs their people, resilience spreads through the whole team. And I
Yes.
guess hospitality would be no different.
Mm,
Busy services, staff shortages, difficult customers,
mm.
and those are the moments would expose good leadership.
Yes.
So I think strong leaders, they don't have to be dominant in the room, but they need to regulate it, and
Mm.
they need to set the tone. They need to hold their standards, and they need to work alongside their team when it matters. And resilience is not about being loud or tough either. It's about being steady,
Mm.
consistent, and accountable under pressure.
Yeah, look, I love those words you just put there. Being accountable under pressure, yes, being just being there and having that steadfast about you. If you worked with the team, if this team know what your expectations are, they know, that you have got their back. I think that's probably the biggest thing I find with frontline team members is, no matter what generation they're from, that a leader can say, "Oh, yeah, I support you." But when they show that they actually support them, whether it's them directly or whether they've seen that manager, support another one of their team members, it makes such a difference to the commitment of that team member and others because they see that leader being there for them. Not, there'll always be times that they may not always be right, and the leader has to point
Yep.
that out to them, but it does mean that they've got the support. And that is so important when we're dealing with public.
Oh, 100%. And the
Mm.
leader's got to be accountable too. You've got to have a good leader. You've got to have good leadership skills
Yes.
because you're leading a team. They're
Mm.
learning from you. They're
Yes.
absorbing everything. You should have experience in what you're doing, and then
Mm.
obviously it flows through the team.
Yes, it does.
If it's
You've,
not there, then yeah, it's
yeah, it's just empty.
catastrophic.
Yeah, it's just a whole lot of empty rhetoric. You,
No.
you talk about community. It isn't just a concept. It means actually something. It's a lived, it's an intentional experience. But how important is community in healing, in both growth and leadership? And what lessons can hospitality businesses learn from the way you foster those strong bonds through the Younger Heroes program?
Yeah, community is critical because it creates social resilience.
Mm,
So when things go wrong, a strong community doesn't fall apart. They come together.
mm.
So in a healthy community, I think people step up in different ways. So some might lead, be leaders, some support, others bring specific skills when needed,
Mm.
and everyone has a role. And
Yes.
that is what keeps a group moving forward under pressure.
Mm.
So, and that requires leadership, where we're going back to someone has to stay calm, ask the right questions, and bring the people together.
Yes.
And on the Younger Heroes, that's exactly what happens. We bring families into the land we remove the outside noise and distractions, and we put everyone on the same level playing field
Yes.
through shared challenges, meals, time around the fire. People reconnect and share their stories, and that's where strength is built.
Mm.
So definitely the same applies within business and hospitality. A
Yes.
weak culture or poor leadership affects the whole organization.
Mm.
Strong leadership builds resilience and it builds communities
Mm.
and, you know, and productive ones.
Yes.
If
Yes.
not, it's unproductive ones.
That's
Yeah.
right. So the program, the Younger Heroes, is it for current serving veterans, or is it perhaps those because that have been in the military, no matter which one of the tri services, and they can come into the programs as well?
Yeah, it's for parent and child. It's for current and ex-serving, and it's actually for family members as well.
Good.
So if we are getting asked a lot, so we did a program in Tasmania in November, and a spouse came because she lost her husband, 4 months beforehand. So obviously, someone like that can come on a program. We've got
Mm.
a few of those where they're widows as such come on a program. And all family members, there could be a split family now,
Mm.
and a mother might be wanting to come on the program to connect with the children. So
Mm.
it is set up as a one-on-one program. We find it extremely strong and beneficial for that one-on-one, so one parent, one child.
Mm.
Predominantly, yes, it's for the current and ex-serving, but we will obviously, different circumstances, look at family members.
Mm.
We have had some people bring up to two, three children.
Mm.
We make it work.
Yes.
One-on-one is very powerful. We've had parents come back up to three times with three different children over a period of time.
Right.
And they'll come back and help out on more programs. They'll become facilitators, and that's what it's about. It's about evolving. It's about building a community where a person that comes through a program in such 2022 might be coming back in 2026
Mm.
as a adolescent, an 18, 17-year-old helping out on the program. And that
Yes.
parent, we've got a couple, and one in particular now, like he did two programs with different children and now facilitates on the program.
Mm.
And that's what it's all about. It's about building this community and evolving and running more programs around the nation.
Yeah, which is wonderful. And I'm so pleased to hear it's also having that flexibility to, bring into the fold, as you're saying, the widows and those that have left the military. I think we find that, when they're still in the services, you are able to reach out to them because you've got that, contact through the military. It's when they leave and we
Yeah.
don't have that contact, and it's getting out there for them to know that you exist, and we see this so often across organizations that are here to help our veterans, and once that veteran leaves, there is how do we connect with them, and there's so slowly gaining traction, but it's hard because those people are left really out in the wilderness, particularly if the veteran has suffered through PTSD and has had to leave the military, not because they want to, the choice was taken away from them and they feel really isolated. So that's hard. And that impacts the family.
Yeah, yeah, it is. We do get guys, girls who are leaving or just left the military who are, medically discharged.
Mm.
And my goal is also to create a program where we build a program for them where it gives them purpose where they can go into defense and talk about, family connection and the importance of it and stress taken home.
Mm.
What the program looks like, I'm not sure, but I'm going to build that as well. So
Yeah.
it's giving them the next opportunity to go out and, you know, tell the story as
Yeah.
such about the younger heroes and how critical it is to, work on yourself for your children
Mm. Because,
before you take
that's
that stress
key.
home into the house.
Yeah, because when they're in the military, they have got that support. They are always in that cocoon of, a team. It's the group. It's who they go everywhere with. 24 hours a day. And
Yeah,
when they leave, they don't have that. They're not just leaving a 9 to 5 job. They're leaving, a family,
A life.
the work
Yeah.
family, a whole life. And that impact when they're by themselves with their partner and then children who are used to also doing this move and having this are totally isolated. That's where, to me, your program and others are just so key in making sure that we don't lose them, that they just disappear and who desperately need help.
Yeah, and we understand. We've got, look, I've been in the shoes of the children. We've got
Mm,
facilitators, all their facilitators are ex-serving. They're pretty much all ex-operational guys from the SAS,
mm,
people with leadership skills and lived experience, some with kids who are older, some with broken marriages, some with second families,
mm.
got guys who got in at 17, got guys that got in their 20s who had a career beforehand. And you
Yes.
see the difference in when they get out to transitioning, those guys who
Mm,
get in earlier, that's all they know. That
that's
is all they
right.
know. I think they do it probably harder than the guys that have got in a little bit later in life who
Mm,
have had um, a career pre-military.
yes.
There's all those attributes that come into how a veteran can transition into
Mm,
civilian life.
yeah. And it's a big transition. So
It's big, and I think
yes.
too from what I've seen as well is the ones that get out and broaden their wings and adapt to civvy world, they do much better than the ones that potentially still are wrapped in that green and
Mm,
who may have been in this from a very early age. It's
yes.
it's extremely tough for them. So
Mm,
tough. That's all they know.
yeah, that's right.
Structured life. Yeah.
Yes, that very structured life. It's very true. Our last question, because I'm sure we could talk for a lot longer, Damien, is looking ahead, how can individuals or businesses in the hospitality industry, from chefs to hotel managers, support or get involved with the Younger Heroes and its mission to strengthen families and serve those who have served?
Yeah, well, hospitality, like I said, we bring chefs in. It plays a practical role, and I guess hospitality is one of our strongest allies with the nutrition and food and such.
Mm,
And our programs are run remotely. We do run them nationally, and obviously more around New South Wales. So we bring everything in a blank canvas, and we bring the chefs in, the equipment in, and everything's needed. So, and we work with certain venues to provide the facilities and the space.
mhm.
So, I guess the way these hospitality industry can help us out is in partnerships, in kind support. We run the programs around the state, around the country. Reach out and see where we're running it, whether donate food or staff,
Mhm.
fundraising initiatives, just helping amplify and build our mission and the Younger Heroes name. So it's all very tangible. And it's about giving back to the people who served our country and not just the veterans, but especially the children who are our future.
Yes.
Venues can run fundraising events, bar promotions in that way. And we also can provide facilitators to speak at venues,
Mhm.
whether it's directly on leadership or resilience or social resilience. We also can tailor our programs we have done for businesses in the past, and this can be done with hospitality staff where we come and do a program for businesses on leadership, resilience, and strong community and under high pressure environments.
Mm.
And that creates an income for the Younger Heroes. It gives back to the community and teaches, these businesses practical tools so that they can use immediately.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, strengthening families strengthens communities, and
Certainly does.
everyone can benefit.
Yes, definitely. Look, thank you so much, Damien. I really enjoyed our conversation, hearing that connection, from your personal life carry through now to the work that you do with the Younger Heroes for veterans and their families. It is that connection that is so important for each and every one of those people that have been through the programs. But I'm sure my listeners, if you would like to learn more about what Damien and his team there do at the Younger Heroes, please go to the show notes. I'll put all the links in there for you. Damien, is there something that I haven't asked that you would like to share with my audience?
No, I guess, yeah, to reach out, website, go to our website, Younger Heroes, social media, Instagram, Facebook, email is probably the best way
Hmm.
to get hold of me. If there's organisations out there that are interested in partnering and sponsoring, we are just partnered with an amazing club down in Sydney way. So there's more clubs out there that would like to hear more about the younger heroes, or even potentially for us to run a program for the businesses. Yeah,
Yeah.
just reach out by email, or my details are online.
Perfect. Excellent. I'll share those with you. Well, thank you so much, Damien, for sharing your wisdom today and letting us know about the Younger Heroes program.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's been a great chat.